year, the government of Montenegro will continue to harmonize our legal framework with the European standards, not just for the sake of meeting formal requirements, but in order to actually improve the quality of life of every citizen. We will strongly support investment projects in green economy, energy efficiency, and modern infrastructure, protecting the space, preserving the resources, and creating new jobs. At the same time, we will make sure that the green transition process is just and inclusive and oriented towards achieving long-term benefits for the entire society without any exceptions and without leaving anyone behind.
Izvještaj Europske agencije za životnu sredinu nas vrlo jasno podsjeća da savremeni izazovi više nisu udaljeni ni teorijski. Crna Gora nema luksuz da postupa sporo i parcijalno, jer posljedice nečinjenja ne bi bile samo ekološke, već bi se odrazile na tržište rada, energetsku sigurnost, turizam, javno zdravlje i ukupnu stabilnost zajednice.
The EEA report clearly reminds us of the fact that contemporary challenges are no longer distant or theoretical. Montenegro cannot afford to take slow or partial action, because the consequences of failure to act would not be only environmental. They would instead have implications on the labor market, energy security, tourism, public health, and overall stability of our community.
Zbog toga naša politika mora ostati proaktivna, utemeljena na evropskim standardima, zasnovana na nauci i podržana širokim društvenim konsenzusom. Namjera vlade je da u tom procesu bude pouzdan partner Europskoj uniji i svim međunarodnim prijateljima. Nastavit ćemo da gradimo institucije koje imaju kapacitet da sprovode zakon, ali i da stvaraju ambijent za održivi privredni razvoj.
This is why our policies must remain proactive, based on European standards, science, and supported by broad social consensus. The government intends to remain a reliable partner to the European Union and all international friends in this process. We will continue building institutions which have the capacity to implement the law, but also to create an environment which allows us to ensure sustainable economic development.
Crna Gora posjeduje sve ključne pretpostavke da bude i u buduće prepoznata kao lider u regionu kada je riječ o zelenim politikama. Da bismo to postigli, potrebno je da budemo ujedinjeni oko zajedničkog cilja, da izgradimo stabilnu, sigurnu i otpornu državu koja racionalno koristi svoje resurse, poštuje principe održivosti i jača svoju poziciju u Europskoj zajednici država.
Montenegro meets all the necessary requirements to continue to be recognized as a leader in the region when it comes to green policies. In order to achieve that, we need to stay united around a common goal, which is to create a stable, safe, and resilient country which uses its resources in a rational manner while adhering to the principles of sustainability and strengthening its position in the European community of states.
Zato želim jasno i nedvosmisleno poručiti. Vlada Crne Gore ostaje u potpunosti posvećena sprovođenju zelene tranzicije, jačanju institucionalnih kapaciteta i nastavku europskih integracija. Ovo nije politika jednog mandata, već politika države koja razmišlja dugoročno i odgovorno. U tom duhu pozivam sve institucije, privredu, akademsku zajednicu, civilni sektor i građane da zajednički doprinesemo izgradnji Crne Gore, koja će biti modernija, ekološki naprednija i ekonomski snažnija.
Which is why I want to send out a clear and unambiguous message today. The government of Montenegro remains fully committed to the implementation of green transition, to the strengthening of institutional capacities and continuation of European integration process. This is not a one-term policy. This is rather the policy of a country that thinks long-term and in a responsible manner. In that spirit, I would like to invite all the institutions, businesses, academic community, civil sector, and citizens to join us in efforts to build Montenegro, which will be more modern, environmentally advanced, and economically powerful. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Minister Čolakić, for your clear and encouraging remarks. Now I have a pleasure to welcome the Executive Director of European Environment Agency, Ms. Lena Ulamanonen. Please.
Minister Đulavić, ministers, distinguished partners from this Balkan region, dear colleagues, dobro jutro. That's the only thing that I can say anything to on your languages, but I'm very pleased to be here today in Montenegro with you and have this opportunity to welcome you all to this special and important regional event. First of its kind, also for us from the European Environment Agency. This event is organized together with all our Western Balkan partners and hosted by our partners here in Montenegro in cooperation with their government. And I wish to thank you really warmly for all of you for making this event possible. For me and my colleagues from the European Environment Agency, EEA, this event is marking more than 20 years of cooperation with the region. Our role as an EU agency is to support environmental knowledge, data systems and shared learnings. And the breadth of the cooperation is really remarkable. It is from data reporting, expert networks, capacity building, co-creation and strategic dialogues. Our agency has a technical role, but a very important one, I believe. And participation in our IONET network and joint projects are core pillars in our relationship with our IONET partners. Of course, this cooperation is also part of the wider road to EU enlargement as the EU continues its commitment to the region. Just recently, the European Commission adopted its 2025 enlargement package, reaffirming that the European perspective for the Western Balkans remains firmly on the agenda. In the words of EU leadership, the future of the Union lies with you. And in that context, partnerships such as ours, grounded in data, cooperation and trust, become even more meaningful. For us, working on environment, climate and sustainability, the path ahead has to be and is also about green and resilient futures. And as the Minister said, it is not only about meeting the formal legal requirements, it is about well-being of the people and of our environment. It is about sustainable future. So this launch event for our Europe's Environment 2025 report is both a milestone and a moment of reflection. Western Balkan partners have contributed for the last 4 State of the Environment reports since 2010. And for this report, the contributions from you perhaps have been bigger than ever before. And I warmly wish to thank you for your contributions in supporting this report. And this regional launch event has a moment of visibility for your work and for our collaboration and for the shared ownership of the outcome, the report, Europe's Environment 2025. I invite you all to indeed engage openly in the discussions and also look ahead with confidence to our joint road towards sustainable future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Elena, for these important messages and for your ongoing support to the region. Now it's a pleasure to invite Mr. Milan Gazdic, the Director of the Environmental Protection Agency of Montenegro, to share his views on Montenegro's journey under the Chapter 27.
Thank you. Dear colleagues, estimated partners from European Environmental Protection Agency, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure to speak today on behalf of Environmental Protection Agency of Montenegro at the regional presentation of Europe's Environment 2025. This workshop represents an opportunity to examine the state of the environment in a broader of European context, exchange experience and jointly reflect on the priorities of our region. Environmental Protection Agency of Montenegro sees this event not only as space for data and experience exchange, but also as an incentive to strengthen our institution, improve policy coordination, and enhance the legislative framework. Through dialogue with colleagues from the region and partners from the EEA, it is important that we identify where we have made progress, where are our priorities and how we can jointly contribute to European environmental protection goals. Today, I would like to highlight the concrete steps Montenegro is taking in fulfilling the obligations of Chapter 27. One of the key focus areas is Natura 2000. Montenegro completed the mapping of habitats and species a year ahead of schedule, which enables us to plan protection in line with local needs as well as European standards. The new nature protection law, which is in its final drafting stage, represents a crucial step in implementing this vision. Furthermore, we have prepared and submitted, and today we have new information. Today will be in the Parliament climate change law. Its focus is practical planning, introducing obligation for emission projections, monitoring, and the development of climate change adaptation plans. In the area of waste management, a significant step has been the adoption of the new waste management law and state waste management plan. In doing so, we have laid the foundation for a more modern and sustainable system that encompasses recycling, waste reduction, and the future introduction of extended producer responsibility. We also prepared a red list of endangered species, and the final one, red list of ecosystem, is planned to be finished on the end of 2026. All these activities have direct practical impact. They enhance our planning, strengthen the capacities of agency, enable better cooperation between local communities and state institutions, and create a predictable framework for sustainable investment and projects. Naturally, challenges remain. Implementation requires additional staff, improved cooperation, and strong field-level capacities, especially concerning monitoring, the implementation of new plans, and the preparation of infrastructure projects. Long-term investment is wastewater treatment, modernization of waste management systems, and the transition to sustainable mobility are demanding, but they are priorities for the entire region. Nevertheless, what we can emphasize as Montenegro's advantage is our systematic approach and the possibility in meeting our obligations. Our experience showed that although progress is not always fast, the results are stable and measurable. We are ready to approach our obligation responsibly, and in many areas we are recording results that confirm our capacity and commitment to progress. I would like to thank our colleagues from the region for their continuous cooperation, exchange of experience. Montenegro will continue to be an active and reliable partner in this process, aiming to contribute to strengthening regional capacities and building a more sustainable and resilient environment. I would also like to extend our sincere gratitude to European Environment Agency for their continued support, guidance, and partnership, which significantly contributes to our progress and strengthens our capacity to meet shared environmental goals. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gazic. Thank you to all of you. I will now ask you to take your place from the audience because we are moving to the central part of today's agenda, a closer look to Europe's Environment 2025. To present the key messages and the way how it is communicated, I'm inviting Katja Rosenbaum, the head of communication at the European Environment Agency, and Ms. Ryong Kim, head of sustainability at the European Environment Agency as well. Ladies, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for having us here at this regional launch of Europe's Environment 2025. And as mentioned, we will actually present some of the results that actually came out of this report that we launched recently in Brussels. So you can see exactly how some of the data that you've been working on and been providing actually has led to the messages that we're bringing. But first, let me start with the overall messages of what we were trying to say in our actual report itself. And this is essentially a message of urgency and hope. As I mentioned, at the end of September, we launched the flagship report, which is a 5-yearly report within our mandate that is a very comprehensive overview with data from all of our cooperating member countries on basically the state of the environment, climate and sustainability and our outlook for the future as well. And our job in this report was pretty much to underline what environment means for the health, security and prosperity of its citizens. And we launched this report in a time where there are other competing concerns, such as economic considerations, security concerns in our region, that factor actually higher than our environment at the moment. But we know that ongoing degradation and climate change are threatening our society, they're posing risks, they're having economic consequences, and also affecting our health and well-being. And at the same time, we see the cause for hope, both at the EU level, but also at the local and national level. We see signs of good cases where countries and communities are actually tackling the green transition, taking action on housing, food, energy, and trying to tackle the challenges also with the use of natural resources. The scientific evidence that is the basis of this report is basically demonstrating that urgent action is needed, as we heard earlier from the introductory session. It's based on the data from countries from the EE27, but also from the data that you have contributed from these countries in the Western Balkan region. And my colleague will later go on in terms of some of the specific results of this region. And the picture presented here will then go into basically a good indication of the situation of Europe as a whole. Our natural resources. We're highly dependent on our natural resources. Europe's landmass is the most intensively used landmass globally. And we know that in this very finite geographical area of land, there are competing uses for buildings, for homes, the energy transition, protected areas, agriculture, other activities. So we know that each parcel of land in the future is going to face increased conflicts over its use. That has its own impacts, for example, habitat quality. We heard about the efforts of actually designating protected areas, but this is also a competing use for our land. We also know that 60 to 70% of our regional land in Europe is actually affected by one or more soil degradation processes as well. And then there's our water. Our water is regulated by nature through our water cycle. The water reserves, both overground and underground, are under threat from the effects of climate change, the shortage of water, pollution from economic activities, affecting quality of habitats for freshwater species as well as marine life. And it basically limits infiltration to our underground reserves as well. So the competition for water itself is great, and I'm sure this is also an issue in this particular region. And then there's our raw materials, both the renewable raw materials, such as our biomass, and our non-renewable, such as our minerals, metals, rock and stone for building, and fossil fuels. Critical raw materials, these are the rare earth materials that we are so desperately needing for our decarbonisation efforts, are largely sourced from outside of Europe. And these pose significant risks to our strategic autonomy as well, our ability to serve our own needs in this green transition. So these are all issues that we need to pay attention to and understand that the natural resources that we hold in Europe are really a key to our prosperity. So what does this really mean? Let's consider this circle here. In the middle, we have the blue circle, which is our human needs that we need to survive. The social and human dimension, livelihoods, prosperity, health, security, social fairness. Around that is the yellow, and that's our economy. And our economy is built on systems of production and consumption. Here we have the food system. This is how and what we eat. The energy system, the mobility system, how we move, industry, and our built environment. And the green circle around that are then all of the natural assets that we need to make this economy and our basic needs to meet these, essentially. These are our land, water, minerals, metals, climate and ecosystem services, and so on. So I'll go into a bit of depth about the 4 areas that we actually presented in our report. And I start first with biodiversity. The state and outlook for biodiversity and ecosystems is overall poor. And as you can guess from the color coding, red is a negative trend, yellow is a mixed trend, and the green-blue is a positive trend. And this is not looking very good. Biodiversity overall is declining in Europe across land, freshwater, and marine ecosystems. Some progress has been made on the geographical extent of protected areas, but we don't see sufficient improvements on the health of these ecosystem areas, so the quality of these. And climate change, as you can see, are having continued significant negative impacts on our environment, and these impacts are expected to worsen. Delving deeper, we can see that 60% of species and 80% of habitats are in poor or bad condition. And this is using data from the latest State of Nature report, which was actually, the last reporting cycle was in 2020. The consequences of this are immense on the economy. Around 3/4 of Euro area companies in the real economy are highly dependent on one ecosystem service. And 3/4 of Euro area bank loans go to companies that are dependent on natural resources, exposing financial systems to environmental risks and putting the supply chain at huge vulnerability as well. Then to water pollution, and this is a map showing the failure of chemical status in Europe's surface waters. And here we see that in the EU27 countries, that 30% of surface waters are in good chemical status, only 30%. Urban wastewater treatment has improved, but nutrient pollution and pesticide levels in water remain high due to agriculture. And chemical contaminants, microplastics, pharmaceuticals are of increasing concern. We also know that clean water is crucial for people, for drinking and bathing water, and our economy for agriculture and energy production. Then we turn to climate change. And the picture looks slightly better, a little bit more green and blue. And this reflects the significant efforts in the EU member states to reduce greenhouse gas emissions over the past years and the investment made to this effort for the future. However, we do see a very problematic trend and outlook when it comes to climate adaptation, and especially the risk to our economy. So let's delve deeper here. We see good progress in greenhouse gas emissions reductions in Europe. This is one of our success stories. And these emissions have decreased with 37% since 1990. The member states' current and planned additional measures will deliver net greenhouse gas emissions reductions, which will help us move towards the 2030 target of 55% emission reduction compared to 1990. But greenhouse gas emissions at the global level are still rising and going in the very wrong direction. Europe is the fastest warming continent in the world, and Europe's climate is changing at such an alarming rate, which is threatening security, public health, through heat waves, for example, ecosystems and infrastructure through flood damage, and the economy overall. Climate change also threatens our security. Floods, droughts, extreme heat and wildfires are increasing in frequency and causing deaths. There have been over 240,000 fatalities from extreme climate events over the past 45 years. This year's heat wave in June and July caused 2,300 deaths across Europe. And this last figure, 19%, that's 1 in 5 of the EU population experience summer energy poverty. This means that they cannot afford to keep their houses cool during the summertime. Moreover, if you remember from the first slide, the climate change impacts on economy were red. And this map basically shows, which includes the Western Balkan data, shows the total economic losses from climate change per capita. The EU alone faced 738 billion in losses over the past 45 years, and between 2021 and 2023, this was 162 billion euros. For example, in 2023, the floods in Slovenia cost 16% of a GDP loss, and this is simply floods that occurred in the space of a very few hours that had such a huge economic consequence. And what this essentially means is that the severity and value of economic losses over this period is significantly making it harder for insurance companies to underwrite the risks. these companies are no longer willing to bear the risks, meaning that the insurance protection gap in Europe is substantial and increasing. And most countries are actually reporting that over 50% of the losses are uninsured and never to be recovered. Then we go to environment and human health. We know that natural environment underpins our health, and here we see a worsening picture. We have made significant progress in the past on reducing air pollution over the past 10 to 15 years, but the future outlook you see is much more mixed, with significant challenges around noise, water, and chemical pollution. Pollution continues to reduce quality of life in Europe significantly. This is also including regional data from this region. And the greatest impacts often fall on socioeconomically deprived and other vulnerable groups, such as children or those with existing illnesses. And on the left with these bubbles, you can see the top 6 chronic diseases causing deaths from pollution. The first is cardiovascular disease, followed by cancers and chronic respiratory disease. Exposure to pollution is still responsible for 10% of premature deaths in the EU. And the inequality of these effects are pronounced. The overall exposure to air pollution is 1/3 higher in the poorest regions of Europe. So this needs to be addressed. Also, chemicals are of increasing concern. And these are chemicals found in the bodies of the EU27 countries, the citizens of these countries. And the graph shows basically that the toxic chemicals are exceeding, the percentage of toxic chemicals that exceed safe levels. The highest offender, as you can see, with 92% is in bisphenol A, common in plastics, through food containers, bottles, those types of things. And the next being inorganic arsenic, mainly from contaminated groundwater and certain industrial processes. What we have seen is that we have seen progress with legacy chemicals, such as lead and DDT, a well-known insecticide. But we have persistent chemicals, so to speak, forever chemicals, such as mercury, PFAS, PCBs, which are all man-made chemicals found in, for example, non-stick cookware, electrical equipment, and they're still widespread in the environment. And the volume and number of chemicals is growing because they're being introduced at a rate in the market that is beyond control. And the cumulative effect of these chemicals is also going to be unknown for the future. Lastly, we turn to circular economy and the resource use. And this is all about how we use and reuse our resources and materials. And the overall picture on circular economy is broadly mixed. We've made some progress when it comes to circular design and waste recycling. These are very green in past trends and outlook. But other indicators such as waste generation and circular use of materials is still far from when they need to be. The global impacts of Europe's current consumption are not sustainable. So what does this show us? First of all, the Europeans in the EU27, we consume a lot. EU's material footprint is unsustainable, and that's to say that the quantity of material consumed per capita is at 14 tons, and this is much, much higher than other world regions. People in high-income countries use 6 times as many resources as those in low-income countries. And food, housing, transport account for more than 80% of EU's total material footprint. Extracting these materials also comes at a cost. At the global level, the International Resource Panel states that resource extraction and processing drives 55% of greenhouse gas emissions. Biomass harvesting drives 90% of biodiversity loss and water stress on land. So these all have a very huge cost on the environment. We're also very wasteful. We generate 5 tons per capita per year of waste, with construction, mining, and quarrying together, over 60% of Europe's waste generation. And although waste management policies have driven significant acceleration of recycling in recent decades of about 44%, the progress has slowed in recent years. And this means that more generated waste still continues to end up in landfills and incineration plants than being recycled. Of the waste that we generate, we do actually use that again, and this is what we call the circular material use rate. In 2022, this figure was 11.8, and it's only a 1.1% increase from 2010. And the main EU policy that is governing this, the Clean Industrial Deal, sets an ambition to reach 24% by 2030. So we are still very, very far off. So while this might sound very depressing, I recognise this. There is a cause for hope because there is action on the ground and seeds of transformative change. And in our report, we go through several levers that can spark transformative change. The first of which is sustainable business models. And this is where innovation plays a very key role. We need to rethink business models from use to more use and reuse. And the key principle here is keeping the value of the materials high and making the materials last longer in their intended use. This could be, for example, through eco-design principles, so looking at durability of products so that we can repair them, recyclability of products so we can reuse them. Also looking at how we can shape markets. For example, governments procure 14% of their GDP, and governments can send a strong market signal investing into secondary raw materials to actually help shape markets and build them up. We should also look at different models. For example, sharing models opposed to ownership. For example, with cars. Do we all need to own cars, or can we start using different models of sharing some of these things? And affordability of these secondary products as well. Moreover, we know that there are limits to circularity, and there are also technological limits to processing and recycling some of our materials in this cycle. So innovations around our ability to recycle these products are going to be key for the future. Moreover, as we heard just earlier from the Minister, you know, the coherent policy frameworks, such as the waste framework, is really necessary for us to complete this circle and ensure that the materials stay in use for much longer. As I mentioned earlier, the single market needs to be strengthened, and there needs to be competitive pricing for secondary materials as well. We also heard previously on the rapid growth in green jobs and the social transition. Employment in the environmental economy is on the way up in the EU27. In 2022, we saw 6.7 million FTE employed in this environmental economy sector. That's 3.1% of total employment, and just in comparison, about 4% of the workforce is employed in agriculture. Jobs in renewables alone is 1.2 million, which is doubled from 2021. So this growth will require investment into green skills and development and retraining, and the potential is really huge. And we hear also in our host country here, efforts towards the just transition. So there are good examples of where we can actually change and where we can actually build towards this green transition. And just to lastly end on an anecdote, I was personally here in June earlier this year to hike the peaks of the Balkans Trail and saw that many of the issues that we face are similar. The original motivation of visiting this area was that this was a list of up-and-coming places. But my mountain guide told me and took me through the challenges that you have actually with your natural resources, the water in the summer months, the reduced snowfall levels in the winter months. At the same time, the urban development that you're seeing in some of these mountain villages. And what we're understanding here from a continental perspective and also a global perspective is that nature is not a luxury. Nature is fundamental for our security, our resilience, and our prosperity. And this is exactly the message that we're trying to carry, both to EU politicians, but to national governments, and also to the citizens. And we need to hear their voices of how they're actually experiencing these effects and what we should do about it. And so next, I invite my colleague Katja to tell us a little bit more about the outreach and impact. Thank you.
Thank you, too.
Thank you. Yes. Yes, thank you, and also hello from our side, and thanks for the strong presence in this event today. As a head of communications at the EEA and also responsible for our IONET network, my focus today will be on how we ensure that Europe's environment is not only informing, but it really resonates throughout the region, nationally, regionally, and also across Europe. Oops, sorry. First, let me just briefly again anchor this report. So we are talking here about 30 years of environment reporting. It's our 7th edition of this Europe-wide State of Environment report. And the Western Balkan region, as Lena already mentioned, has been involved since 2010. So it's your 4th contribution to this report. And while we had country profiles last time, I believe in 2015, also from here, This time around, we have actually applied a brand new methodology to self-assess each country's progress to sustainability, and I believe our colleagues will go deeper into that. So it's a really qualitatively higher level of contributions. Let me also remind ourselves that the Europe's Environment Report consists of three main parts: the main report, the thematic briefings, and the country profiles. And my colleague Ryong has just presented to you the main findings from the main report, but we also invite you to also explore the 35 thematic briefings and all the country profiles. The new methodology that I mentioned implies in the self-assessments actually environment and climate situations in countries, socioeconomic change, and also system change. And it's accompanied by 10 EEA indicators that are quality assured and ensuring comparability. And we even have a AI search in all languages, so welcome, please explore it all if you haven't. And I would like to stress again that partners from this region have of course contributed to these country profiles, but also across the whole report with data, narratives, peer reviews, and also expertise of your experts. So just to re-highlight that your data is present throughout this report as part of the whole European story. And let me also highlight very briefly what it means to be part of a Europe-wide Environmental Information and Protection Network, IONET. In this network, we are actually very many, and it's worldwide unique. We are more than 3,500 experts and more than 600 institutions in protection agencies, in ministries, and research institutions. And we are organized via national focal points, and all of the ones from here are here, but also many experts in thematic IONET groups, and you are also here, and thank you for that. So the institutions and regions and experts from here, from these regions, are fully embedded in this whole work. And I would like to highlight again and acknowledge that it's the first time we see such a regional environment conference, and this is what this network is also all about. And it comes to what we do in the network, I would like to highlight there are actually three main areas, and all are very, very important for all of us, but also for you, I believe. One is about data, so we handle in an annual basis around 125 reporting streams that are actually exchanging on methodology and basically simply make sure that we track progress, where we are in Europe. And the partners from this region, again, are fully delivering on this data reporting and on time. So thank you for that, and it's a result, we believe, of our long-standing cooperation. When it comes to support to EU and national policy, that's what we do is here, as Lena said, we are a technical body. What we tell what works and what doesn't. And we exchange best practices and new ideas and solutions. The way we do this is around 60 assessments, briefings every year. And we basically believe that no one in Europe has to reinvent the wheel when it comes to environment and climate implementation also. And lastly, of course, Europe's environment is the biggest co-creation exercise that happens every 5 years only. So it's a major health check on the state and outlook of Europe's environment. So let me come to the communication approach and why visibility and dialogue really matter to us, and what is our ongoing approach to communicating this report. First, I would say we built this report for impact. It is actually strategic, as you have heard before. It provides insight into policy directions. It connects to new policy agendas, resilience, competitiveness, security. It is, as we believe, also designed to be very accessible. It has clear narratives, visuals, the country information, and the AI search. I want to highlight that again. And it is also action inspiring. It will help, and we believe it will help decision makers translate our knowledge into their priorities. So hence our communication approach is a shift from a traditional scientific compendium, if you like, to a more readable, story-driven, visual, accessible online universe with stronger national relevance through the country chapters and through regional insights. So that is why we believe it is actually designed for policymakers across Europe and in every country and region to help them with policy framing, to help also them and all of us with public communication, to help to track progress and make progress visible, and also be transparent about the challenges that we are having. So that's why the communication campaign is actually designed to be owned by all of our partners, allowing everyone to interact with the content via a shared toolkit with the opportunity to add your own national and local angles. The whole campaign is running for 6 months. We are just in the middle of it now, of this event. So let me emphasize again, it's a shared product, and the Western Balkan are full partners in shaping these messages. And that's why we are also here today, to also listen to your specific needs and your angles. So again, why visibility matters and where we are today. So visibility, we believe, brings legitimacy and political traction. So we also believe this visibility can strengthen in all of our countries, in every region, the credibility of our data systems, the recognition that we are part of an EU family of institutions, regional leadership, and also that is why we are boosting the visibility of this event today via, first of all, it's live stream, so we believe many other colleagues will listen to us today. We have press communication that we organize today, and also coordinated social media effort. So as you can see from this slide, we have had and we still have many ongoing activities, from the Brussels launch week with 2 commissioners that actually renewed the EU commitment to stay the course on the sustainability agenda, to many events across Europe like the one today. Although I would like to highlight again, this event today is very special. It's actually the first time, and it's the only regional conference of its kind, bringing together many countries. So thank you again for having it and for inviting us. One more point. One more point. I'm not finished yet. One dedicated objective of our joint communication approach is also stakeholder engagement. And I would like to highlight that this is involving businesses, civil society, innovators, and citizens. And you've heard it from the minister, you've heard it from Rion. Here you see pictures from the stakeholder conference that we had in Brussels earlier in the launch week. But we see also this dialogue happening in many, many countries right now. And I would like to end with saying, what have we actually heard so far? What is the resonance so far? The way I would like to do it is just to give you some headlines from the media that we have seen in 3 clusters. So what is the state, what it means, and what to do next. So on the state of environment and climate, what have we heard is that environmental damage threatens Europe's life and prosperity. We have heard that water scarcity already affects 1 in 3 Europeans, and the situation is worsened. We have heard overall Europe's environment is not in a good condition. Then again, what are the headlines saying about what does it mean for Europe, for European? So it means, and again I'm quoting headlines, yeah? The European way is under threat. Biodiversity collapse, climate crisis. The environmental crisis threatens competitiveness and security, and delaying the green transition cost Europe's billions. Also, public health is at stake. Pollution and noise remain top killers. And then lastly, what have you heard on what is needed? What are we doing next from here? Again, quoting headlines. Humanity's survival depends on it. Europe must do more to save nature and biodiversity. Europe is warming twice as fast as the rest of the world. Urgent action is needed. The Green Deal must be implemented faster and more effectively, says EEA. We cannot afford to lower our ambitions. And Europe must step up its efforts to save its nature. Nature is not a luxury. You have heard that before. Most importantly, we have heard, as I said, from 2 and 3 EU commissioners that commitment to stay the course on our transition to sustainable continent. So we stay the course. We also, with pleasure, heard that your minister saying the same things today. And let me close by saying then just Europe's Environment 25 is more than a report. It's a collective voice of a community that spans the EU and the Western Balkans. And your engagement makes that community stronger, clearer, and more relevant. And that's why we are very proud to launch it with you today. Thank you.
Neil, Katja, thank you very much. You may take your seat to the audience. Take your time. And now the final part of the first session, a major milestone, 20 years of cooperation between the Western Balkans and the European Environment Agency. I'm inviting Ms. Lidija Stjepanovic, the national focal point to the EEA of Montenegro, and Luna Kalash, the project manager for Western Balkans cooperation. Ladies.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. We will take around 10-15 minutes of your time before the coffee break to tell you a bit more about how this cooperation between EEA and the Western Balkans looks in practice. And on a daily basis, this cooperation is usually personified in somebody like me, so a project manager for Western Balkans in the EEA, and our daily counterparts, NFPs, national focal points for the agency in each of the Western Balkan partners countries. So that's why Lydia and me are here today. So, I will actually have to move a bit of...
Do you want to sit here?
Can you do it?
Okay,
Super.
thank you, Nicola.
I've been working in the Environment Agency in the last 5 years, and a lot has shifted since then. Some things change, some don't, but one thing stays permanent, and that is a commitment of both sides to build something that lasts. So as you can see this slide, and you've seen it with Katja, this is EEA is a networking organization, really, and it has 38 countries, or more than 3,000 experts in 600 institutions working daily. So it's a really big engine room that delivers data and creates our knowledge. So we are definitely not alone. And what does that mean for the Western Balkan region? That means that our partnership is not seasonal, it's not a one-off, it's not project-driven, but it's rather a process of building capacities towards the eventual membership in the EEA. While that is not in our hands or anybody in this room, we do have a task to build technical capacities so that the countries can become member of the EEA. We do frame our cooperation in the externally funded project, so we do depend on funding cycles of the IPA funding mechanism from the European Commission, but still there is an understanding that this is an ongoing work that is not going anywhere unless you are becoming a member country of the European Environment Agency. And of course, the funding cycles change. There might have new envelopes or new conditions, but the relationships continue, and the commitments do deepen, and the responsibilities on both sides keep on growing. So on the next one, I will just quickly show you a bit of a timeline in history. So we had first of the countries from the Western Balkans joined as cooperating countries in 2000. So that was Bosnia and Herzegovina, North Macedonia, and Serbia. 2 years after, we had Montenegro and Albania. And in 2011, we had Kosovo. So you can see how long this is. I was looking at this 2000 and thinking, was that 4 European Commissions ago or even more? I think it speaks volumes to the institutional knowledge and the trust and relationships that have been built over time. And this is an enormous body of work and data that survived political shifts and economic cycles and even a pandemic. And we came out of that stronger, I would say. We have a couple of overarching strategic goals that are always the same, and then they can trickle down differently in details. One is to provide the Western Balkans partners with effective access to IONET and everything that happens in EEA. So that is access to meetings, to trainings, to consultations, inquiries. So everything that happens with member countries is also available for our partners in the region. also helping with stronger national coordination, expert involvement, etc. Then there is an ongoing task of improving data and reporting, or rolling out new data sets if country is ready. We see it as a reliable and timely data is a currency of trust in the environmental sector. So this is really, let's say, the highest of focuses that we have with countries. And of course, building technical capacities in thematic areas that are they are both coming from the needs that you have identified, but also are part of the EU policy framework, such as Green Deal and the Green Agenda for the Western Balkans. Shortly, I can show you on the next slide something that we do every year. It is, it's a scoring really bar, let's say, of how do countries do when it comes to reporting their data to the EEA. And I mean, I think Lydia knows very much the routine. This is, to get there, it really takes an effort. There are, calls before midnight. There are experts working day and night. It's, the routine. It's not easy to get there, but then we get to some good results. And if we see dips, then we know exactly where to focus our next round of cooperation. So it really helps build. It's kind of making an objective picture of where the needs are. So regardless of whether the people change or the experts change, the data shows itself. So I guess we often say how EEA supports the region, but in fact I think the region also supports the EEA, because without your data we would not really have the full picture of the continent. And some of the best ideas and best data sets actually come from this region. So I just want to highlight that and say that we are very, very grateful to be here today. And I think with that, I hand over to Lydia, but we can change a slide because I know she will speak a bit on thematic areas. Yes.
Thank you, Luna, for the opportunity I can speak about it. Respect Mr. Luna, respect our director, Mr. Gazdic, dear colleague from West Balkan, dear colleague from European Agency, dear colleague from National INET Network, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to say hello in front of our Agency of Montenegro, and of course like NFP of Montenegro, especially as the host country is this conference. For us, this conference is very important. We have first time this about conference where we have can destination our European Environment Report 2025. As I say, in according of our environmental law, our agency and responsibility institution, who is a cooperation with European Agency, we start our cooperation in 2009 and started official reporting 2010, and we including in first report 2010. After that, we including in report on 2050, 2020, and this last 2025. For us is the big challenges. We collect many information, but you can hear about that later in our presentation. There are a large number of activities that confirm the commitment to including West Balkan countries in the European Agency activities. I want to say we significant memorandum of understanding 2020 year. The European Agency adopted the strategy 2021-2030, and that strategy were includes a clear commitment to strengthen cooperation with 6 cooperation countries, West Balkan country. West Balkan country have representation on management board meeting in an observer capacity on rotating basis. It's very important things. Thank you for the support for the participation NFP and IONET groups meetings. For us, very important things. We including publication, one brochure, as you can see, European Agency West Balkan cooperation in the recent years. On the previous period, we have, 3 country visits from your side. And I have say about one important things is that support for the NFP assistant. And for us is crucially, we have lot of job and NFP on the West Balkan, and that support is very important for us. Of course, we have many national challenges. I have to say that. Capacity building regarding reporting, expansion of national INET network, and one very important thing, how we can motivating IONET groups regarding reporting obligation. Cooperation between EPA and university, and we need establishment environmental information system in the next period, and increase in financial support for environmental monitoring. Is that we need it, we need the data for prepared reporting and finished reporting obligation, definitely. In next period, we have priorities, thematic support in the 7 key areas: air quality, water, biodiversity, waste, environmental information system, Copernicus program, and knowledge to action component, definitely. We hope so. We mapping of key environmental project plan within in next IPA project. And we hope so have continue very important cooperation with the environmental topic center, different environmental topic center in European agency. And on the end, I have one key message for European agency. Open the door, we are coming soon, like a member country.
I agree, Lydia. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Luna. I think we are all ready now for a short break. The coffee is served in the hall, but please return in 15 minutes because we are moving to the session number 2. Thank you.
Jel? Aha. Aha. Da, ja sam samo da probanim ovu, da stavim ovaj drugu ovu prezentaciju. Da, samo da vidim. Okej. Dobro.
ovdje dva kanala. Što? Nisi. Šta mu treba? Ako bude certifikacija, nešto ide na stiglo. Da, s tim ćemo pratiti na sve. Ja mu povezujem, Rafa, s ovim stereopom povezujem i lijevi i desni. Ne moraš i lijevi i desni, dosta mu mogu.
Stolovi su mali, ja ih mogu još ovako spojiti, ali onda im je baš usko, jer
onda
nema
teatar da napravimo
prostora.
kao polumjesec, ako će svi da gledaju jedni drugi. Možda mi tako ne mogu. Pa tipa ovdje ide ovako i onda u krug, ako će već svi da pričaju. Tipa primaknemo ova dva stola.
Samo zbog mikrofona je to najviše da se dobro čuje. Jer nekako će gledati jedan...
Da, razumijem.
Da se razumijem, ali...
Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2.
Pa ne znam, evo, jel ovako, prvo ovako, model ima kuće, jel tako?
Evo, samo da pozorim.
Samo da budete idu imena za panel. Ja sam zaboravila koje. Afrin je, da ja znam. Afrin je za prezentaciju.
Jel? Ok, onda Afrin.
Makar ovo što ja znam.
A kod vas dvije je, kod tebe i Lidije je isto.
Marijana, jel tako? Tatjana je isto za panel, jel tako? Tatjana je panel.
Bile su na ovom stolu.
A, sad ćemo da pitamo.
So now I'm thinking to be in that other corner. I think it would be nicer. Yes, but we are far away, but I think it's going to be okay. So as you come, you just sit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, perfect.
Because for
Jedino, malo bi bilo dobro u krug. Nemoj ti ništa nas moliti.
Zaleti se da smo čuli da vam ja uvodim ove ljude.
Vi provjeri s njima, je li gotovo? Is this kind of all right? You can see your name, then you can have your photos behind. Ja, I think, ako oni kažu da je spremno, idemo.
evo samo minut jedan, samo da...
Test 1, 2. Test. Test 1, 2. 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 Rađoni, ali ako će on dobivati ton tamo.
Jel slatka?
Znači, nama ovdje stoji.
Ali ovako, znaš vas...
Da, moramo pustiti onda ton. Neki, čisto da vidimo. Da. Ovo, jel? Da, ali samo da vidimo koja je to jačina. Neka. Što imamo pustili neki.
Jedan, dva, tri, jedan, dva, jedan, dva, jedan, dva. Jedan, dva, tri, jedan, dva, jedan. Možda da im pojačamo malo mikrofone. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Jedan, dva, tri, jedan, dva, jedan, dva. Malo da ih 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Ako možemo pojačati, a da ne mikrofon ne dobijemo. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 1. Možda jedinica.
Test 1, 2, test 1, 2, test 1, 2, test 1, 2.
Jedan iz kutije vjerojatno. Što? Jedan iz kutije, Jer on radi na streamu. Sve što ovdje imaju, treba da se prenese. I uzmi iPad samo da ugasimo fantoma.
Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2.
Samo da bismo poslali samo na streaming zvuk sa računara. Da li vam treba zvuk sa prezentacije? Da li imate neki audio zapis ili nešto? Aha, sve su glasi, znači nemate neki audio ili tako nešto?
Welcome back, everybody. Can you please find your seats so we can start? Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Welcome back, everybody. Please find your seats so we can start. Thank you. Hello again, welcome. So we are now starting the second session, second part of our event, which is fully dedicated to the country's contribution to the Europe's Environment 2025 report, and you will hear it from the people who actually developed it and worked on it in the last couple of years. It's safe to say 2+ on the development. We will first have a little bit of an overview from our colleague Tobias Lung that works in the EEA. He's the lead coordinator of the report. And he will tell you about the Western Balkans trends or regional trends and features kind of that stand out in the report. After that, we will have short interventions from each of the Western Balkan partners that will discuss the key challenges, opportunities, and discoveries that they had in their report. And after that, we will have a panel discussion with the authors to see a bit more in depth on how, the behind-the-scenes process of how is it to develop a report like this, and the key findings. So with that, I give the floor to my colleague Tobias to tell you a bit more about the Western Balkans contributions to the report.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you can hear me well. I think that's the case. I would like to go through our work a bit from a perspective of looking at all the Western Balkans together. And then afterwards, as Luna has indicated, we have specifics for each country by the country representatives working on the content itself. So before I start, let me quickly say a few words about the collaboration. I've been the lead person in the EA to work with the countries over the last 2 to 3 years actually to develop these country profiles. So we've been working almost on a daily basis, and in terms of collaboration, just let me say that it has been very productive and fruitful throughout the entire process. You can imagine working on a co-creation exercise with 38 countries is not trivial. It requires a process to set up some joint agreed methods, approaches for the assessment, some rules, and so on and so forth. And the Western Balkan partners have always been very, very attentive to the process and faithful to the process. They have also been very proactive because, as you know, we've heard earlier this morning, some of you face also challenges in terms of data availability, for example. So we have had very fruitful dialogues about what do we do in this situation where an indicator is not available, for example, for our country, and so on and so forth. And lastly, the Western Balkans partners have also always been very faithful to timelines, which is a nightmare for a coordinator like me if timelines are not respected and it goes in all directions. So all in all, I think this collaboration, the co-creation with this part of Europe has been exceptional, and I would really, again, like to express my appreciation and gratefulness to your efforts. You have really led by example in this process of how a co-creation together with the countries can go. So thanks again from my side. That is sitting really in the middle of the machinery. Thanks a lot. So a bit on the content. Let me take a few minutes to take you through some of the key challenges that we see emerging from across the different assessments, from the 6 assessments, and also the opportunities. Because if you look at your self-assessments, then there are some commonalities that more or less all of you face in terms of challenges and opportunities. So first, about some of the challenges that we see in your region. One is still a heavy reliance on fossil fuels for electricity particularly, but also heating and transport. And you all express a need for accelerating the shift towards renewables. That is something, the first commonality you have across all the different countries. Air quality issues is another challenge, especially due to urban and industrial emissions. Many of you raised that point. For example, the exposure to particulate matter, which is one of the worst pollutants in terms of human health impacts. And these pollutants are unfortunately still relatively higher in this region compared to other regions in Europe. So you emphasize in your self-assessments the need for a stronger mitigation and better monitoring also of air quality. In that context, a range of you also mentioned energy poverty and other social inequalities, so that not all people have the same opportunities in terms of energy-related actions like keeping their house sufficiently warm or cold during winter and summer respectively. But also you pointed to other inequalities in society that play a role also on how you can act on environmental and sustainability issues. Another challenge many of you raised is really an urgent need to act on an ever faster moving or faster changing climate. You see extreme events unfolding also in your region, and you emphasized the need to secure energy supply and also to build a resilient agricultural system, as well as secure your infrastructure against extreme events especially. That is also something you mentioned across the different assessments. You also raise issues with waste management. A range of you express in your self-assessment that it's still underdeveloped. Collection of municipal waste, for example, waste, how you deal with waste afterwards, what recycling schemes you have in place, and you raise the need for improving circularity measures. And it's really good to hear this morning that in this country, for example, certain legislative actions are underway or have been taken to improve the situation actually. And then what we have also touched upon slightly already, that is also something running across the region, is the need to strengthen institutional capacities and monitoring. Many of you highlight the need for better reporting mechanisms. You highlight the need of addressing challenges in terms of implementation, but also improving the data situation in many cases. But you also, that was a bit negative maybe, but you also in your assessments highlight the opportunities. Oh, no, the slides are gone. I think they're coming back up again, at least on my screen. Yeah. It's okay. The opportunities. Basically, all of you highlight the tremendous potential of your natural capital, your nature, your biodiversity, in terms of opportunities for sustainable tourism. And you emphasize actually sustainable tourism, not any tourism, but sustainable tourism. In your assessments, ecotourism, and to generate also revenues. You can boost economic growth in your region. You also highlight the potential for renewable energy. You highlight the natural conditions which are privileged in the Western Balkan region often to boost wind, solar, and other ways of energy generation. And also investments into energy storage are highlighted in terms of not only the environmental benefits, but you also highlight in your self-assessments the potential social and economic benefits of going in that direction. Business models in relation to circular economy is something else you highlight, many of you, in terms of waste management, waste recycling. For example, some of you mention industrial symbiosis, which is that excess energy from one industrial process is used by another industrial process. And other examples you give that can benefit not only the environment but also benefit your citizens in terms of economic gains and prosperity. Sustainable mobility is mentioned by a range of you in your assessments, e-mobility, smart transportation systems, and so on and so forth. And you mentioned that particularly in relation to some of the pollution challenges you have, but you also point out in your assessments the potential to generate new jobs and services through going in that direction and transforming the way mobility is functioning in your region. And then lastly, you also point to the opportunities that come with education, training, innovation. So you mention the role of curriculum reforms across the different educational bodies. You also mentioned the role of EU funding in this context to support awareness raising and ensuring that your workforce is more skilled and is educated towards the new types of jobs that are emerging with this kind of initiatives that I just described. This is just a quick overview of the commonalities we saw, and now I'll give the floor back to Luna, and Luna will then go through the different countries, and one by one we'll hear a bit more about the specific key facts from the assessments from each of the 6. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tobias. It's in this work and when we were preparing the event, we knew that we have country profiles and we knew that we had European overall assessment. And it was really crucial for us to get a bit of more of a trends in the Western Balkans. So I thank you for taking the time and analyzing this for us. Now we will go into presentations of country profiles that are part of this report. We will go in alphabetical order. We had originally planned for 5 minutes, but if we can keep it to 4, that would be ideal. And we will go through key challenges, opportunities, and achievements. And with that, I invite my colleague from Albania, Oriana, to take the floor.
Thank you, Luna. Thanks again. Before starting, I have 2 words, only 2 words, in order not to keep longer than what is foreseen. From our point of view, a big thank you for bringing us together in this regional event, which you mentioned earlier, is the first one in the last 15-20 years, first of all. Second, thank you for being with us in this long journey, which meant a lot and means a lot, because from my modest point of view, but also from our national AONET experts' point of view, it has been of crucial importance to be together in this journey, to have you there, always ready for any kind of help, support, technical issues that we have faced with, and it was not an easy journey for us. Being here together means also, is also a concrete result of where this cooperation is bringing us. We are on the right track, and we are side by side for the first time in the very dedicated place to the Europe's Environment Report 2025, which is a good achievement in terms of preparation, drafting, methodology, and so on. So thank you for all of this. Now, just to keep, I'm trying to keep and to give you a short, brief overview of the main results, findings, and messages coming from our country profile, country report of Albania. In terms of achievement, progress identified in our report. very relevant and important progress in the area of renewable energy. Albania made an important and significant progress in achieving not only the EU targets, but exceeding them from 42% of EU target into 46%. Then, regarding the protected nature, in 2022-2023, we had two new designated national parks. And from 2012 to 2022, an increasement of from 22% to 23% of the protected areas services. On the organic farming, very important progress in only 1 year. From 2022 to 2023, we have almost 200 hectares under organic farming, and this thanks to EU support and EPART program that we all know what it is. Air quality, health, impact. Very important progress also in the last 15 years. We have premature deaths dropped with 54%. And this is a result of the politic measures, of the importance given to the improvement of health and the quality of health. Very important infrastructure investments at country level, and also other measures related with the replacement of old vans, let's say, and vehicles with hybrid and electric ones. So all these things has brought to this result. And then in the field of circular economy, it's the main focus, one of the main focus of Albanian government at the moment. Very national policy framework aligned with the EU, all the EU directives. And you know much better than me how complex this process is. The government is now working on the other measures that have to do with the implementation of circular economy, which will be the most difficult part of the work. At the same time, from 2016 to 2022, we have, in terms of research productivity, a doubling of the research productivity rates from 50 lakh per kilos to, I have to speed up. Okay, I got the message. In terms of opportunities, huge capacities and potential to be better used in order to improve the country progress. And the areas of these opportunities are related with, first, with the diversification of, sorry. No, I can't wait. Sorry, Luna. Sorry. Okay. The diversification of renewable energy sources. So no more only focusing on hydro sources, but also because of very favorable climate typology that we have to point on other alternative and renewable sources like solar, wind, biomass, and so on. This will also be an opportunity to combat the energy poverty that I don't know, Tobias maybe mentioned earlier. So to give a better access to those social groups of people who cannot afford or have such access. Further support is needed also to the, as I mentioned, to the circular economy and waste management. Now starts the real the real and the hard work. The policy is in place, but the new business models, incentives, financial support, the right awareness of the business sector have to be implemented and introduced into this process of implementing the circular economy principles and policies. These measures will also impact on the waste management and better performance in terms of collection, recycling, and so on. And the things are very much related with each other. Strengthening green innovation and investment incentives. Albania have a huge opportunity to better perform in introducing eco-innovation technologies and solutions. And this is very much related with the economic structure in the country. Improving resilience, we earlier heard about this on water resources management. Even if Albania is known for its abundant water capacities, not anymore this is written and it's like that, because the things are dynamics, the things are very much changing. We are very much, and the countries, our countries are very much exposed to the climate change impacts. So a better new shaping of this on the way how we use and how we manage these resources is needed. Then there is Albania have also an important potential to expand the terrestrial protected areas in order to reach the EU target that's of 30%. What are the challenges identified? And this is the most that part of the messages coming from the report that we have to heard about and to focus and to orient our efforts for the next period. Climate is the highlight. All of our countries are exposed to heat waves, to floods, to fires. So we have to face with the mitigation measures and to try to manage them. Greenhouse gases mitigation also. According to the national reports, unfortunately, we have exceeded the targets from the sectors, which has nothing to do with LULUCF, for example, land use change, but are related with the production, with the industry, and so on. Limited green investments, and I told earlier, we all need, and what I remember even from the Brussels presentation, all the business have to rethink and to reorient the way how they have to be part of all these changes and transformations and transitions. So much more green investments are needed. The air quality monitoring, our favorite, the headline of our even internal discussions. Yes, the national monitoring networks, my colleagues will be very happy to hear that, still need to fully comply with EU standards. Serious investments in the monitoring infrastructure are needed because everything comes from there. And the social economic fragility of our economy, I'm just two simple examples to show you how fragile we are. Earthquake in Albania, 2019, and then COVID, post-COVID, changed completely the destination of the budget, governmental budget, towards the management and of these unforeseen events, which means which were planned to be given, to be injected at the economy for the green policies, green solutions. So this is the way how we are exposed to such issues that also have to be managed. And circular economy, as I told you at the beginning, is a key word of the national policies at the moment. This is all from my side. I would like also to thank our national people. I haven't been the key person and contributor for this. Arta, my colleague, with the other colleagues, but she was the one who have been working so closely with Tobias, and thanks a lot for all the support given also for the preparation of these reports. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Oriana, and sorry for speeding you up. I appreciate your intervention. It was really important to hear. Next in line, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Tatjana Kapetanovic from NFP from Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Thank you, Luna. Let me check your challenges. Okay. Good morning to everyone. I am really pleased to be here for this occasion on behalf of National Focal Point team from Bosnia and Herzegovina. I really want to use this occasion to thank all our contributors to our country profile, our IONET experts, all institutions which were involved in this process, and of course European Agency for their support. I try to give you a short brief on our country profile because it's really very hard to do it in 4 minutes, all possible topics in just 3 slides. So I invite you really to go deep into the report online, also to use artificial intelligence assistant. It's very interesting. You can ask any question on Bosnia and Herzegovina, and it will do all cross-cutting and give you answers. It's really interesting. So, if we are talking about achievements highlighted in our country report, there are different aspects of achievements. You have achievements in policy, you have it in different topics. So when we talk about policies, we have to say that environmental strategies are adopted in 23. Why I'm stressing this? Primary jurisdiction for environmental protection in Bosnia and Herzegovina is responsibility of entities, so the Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina and the Republika Srpska and Brčko district. While state level is in charge for international cooperation and coordination of entities, plans and programs in environmental protection. So we adopted environmental strategies and action plans, and also integrated national energy and climate plan, which is also very important, which was submitted to energy community in last year. When we talk about renewable energy sources, we have commitment to have 43.6% of renewable energy share in final energy till 2030, which is recognized in this integral plan. We will do it, we plan to do it by installation of new solar capacities, for example, 1,500 megawatts of new solar capacity. Hopefully we have lots of possibilities in these renewable sectors. When we talk about air quality, which is really problematic in our country, one of the measures was subsidies for electric vehicles purchases and reduction of custom duties in 23 and 24 for new electric vehicles. Even though we have progress in establishing a network of monitoring stations, this still remains really problem air pollution in the main cities. So that's why this measure is also really important to stress out. Also introduction of public bicycles and all possible smart mobility, e-bikes, e-scooters, e-cars in the main cities in last 5 years. It's really expansion of this. In the field of waste management, we have to say that we introduced EPR scheme, so it's extended producer responsibility for packaging and electronic products. Also, we developed in entities information system on waste management to have better data, because when we have better data, we can plan better. Also, when we talk about public awareness, we have rising public concern about climate change and pollution, which is also very important, because this public response, it's also important to cope with all these problems. Also, we have financial incentives for organic production in both entities, and also recognition of high conservation value forests when we talk about this field on biodiversity and protected areas. We have progress on Forest Stewardship Council certification, in which then we recognize high conservation value forests. Why this is important? Because we all know that we have coming Montreal Protocol on CBD. And it is important to recognize new areas, which are also important to talk about them within the whole story about terrestrial protected areas. So first we have to recognize these kind of areas and to report on them within this coming Montreal Protocol. I will leave opportunities for end and maybe talk about challenges highlighted for Bosnia and Herzegovina. For us, transposition of EU acquis is not on the satisfactory level, so this legal framework is really challenging for us. Also, we have limited administrative capacity, need to improve monitoring systems and interinstitutional coordination. Again, we talk about air pollution in many cities, which is seasonal, which is driven by traffic, industry, and urban heating with solid fuels. So we really need lots of measures and to cope with this problem. In waste and water management solution, we also have to do more. We have no widespread separate collection of waste. Disposal is the main treatment method, so we have to raise these numbers on recycling and other ways of treatment this waste. Also, high energy intensity and reliance on coal. Coal is, I think, 65% of our energy, primary energy source. Connected to that, we also need to avoid unemployment and poverty in coal-rich regions, because we need to avoid this while decommissioning thermal capacity. Of course, we have to do that, but then we have to be very careful with this social aspect of all of this. Again, small proportion of national designated area. I think it's 3.47%, which is really very low number. And I hope we will do our best and to expand this area. When we talk about climate change, we have to be aware that we have high exposure to floods. I think 20% of territory exposed to floods. Also drought-induced agricultural losses and wildfires. It's shocking that we have 70-fold increase of wildfires in 10 years. It's really terrible. So we need to deal with these problems. And what are opportunities for us to make these challenges become opportunities? We are facing, we are a candidate country for EU. We open, for us, negotiations are open last year. So we have really lots of challenges in this moment. But we have to make them opportunities. So these challenges can be opportunities to do our best. So we have to accelerate emission reduction and improve air quality management. We have to scale up renewable energy, all possible solar, wind, and hydro, which we have a really good possibility, and phase out coal. Support energy efficiency upgrades, green certification, and eco-innovation. Especially target residential sector because it's responsible for 74.9% of the final heat consumption, which is shocking, for efficiency gains. Also modernize agri-food sector, promote climate smart practices and organic production because we can see that organic production is becoming more interesting. We also have more export of organic products, so it's connected also to business. We have to use this moment. And again, expand terrestrial protected area network. This is really important. In the topic of waste management, we have to improve separate collection, recycling, and extended producer responsibility in other types of waste. So this was really in short, and I really again invite you to explore our country profile in the online. It is really interesting to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I will invite my colleagues from Kosovo, Iliriana Orana from the Kosovo Environmental Protection Agency.
Good morning. I am honored to be here with you today, and I'm also very happy to share Kosovo's journey toward environmental protection. Kosovo is committed to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and also implement climate adaptation measures, of course, in alignment with international climate goals. To achieve so, we have outlined several sectoral strategies and laws, and we have set a target, which is very courageous, I would say, that is partially phasing out of fossil fuel dependency for energy generation. It is a very brave goal, having into consideration the fact that Kosovo depends on fossil fuels. 80% of our energy is produced by fossil fuels. On another side, this target was kind of driving force that pushed us toward renewable energy development. For the first time in Kosovo, we have adopted and implemented plans on clean energy. There was, for the first time, a competitive action. So we have invited private investors to invest on clean energy. And there was a plan for a project of 950 megawatt of solar and wind energy, which is already planned, and we are looking forward to implement it. On the field of biodiversity and protected areas, we have managed to expand the territory of our national parks, and also by the support of international partners, we have been able to implement projects on endangered species protection and also on the field of habitat restoration. One of the achievements that we are very proud of is the establishment of air quality monitoring network, the national one, which consists of 13 air quality monitoring stations spread all over Kosovo that produce real-time data that are available for public, also are reported on real-time to the European Environment Agency. On the field of waters, we have started for the first time wastewater treatment, covering 25% of the territory. On the waste management, we had a lot of issues, but we have managed to close illegal dump sites, and we have established also regional waste centers. We have adopted our waste management strategy, and we are happy that we have set some targets and we are working on it. So it's an achievement for us. KEPA has strengthened its capacities on data collection, and we have managed for 3 years in a row to achieve 100% of the reporting obligations to the European Environment Agency. And we are very keen on maintaining this rate for the upcoming years. Of course, this achievement was made possible by the support of EEA through IPA project, but we are very looking forward for the new phase of it. Regarding the opportunities, I can say that Kosovo has great opportunities to align its environmental policies with the European Union, and of course also continue the process of integration. By doing this, we will have the opportunity of accessing EU funds. These funds will help us modernize our infrastructure, reduce pollution, create new job opportunities, and also move toward a cleaner, low carbon, and more sustainable future. Circular economy can be developed in Kosovo. There are feasibility studies and there are projects that have been planned to reduce waste, also to create new jobs, and of course making better use of the resources. Another opportunity would be renewable energy expansion. Kosovo has proven to have wind and solar capacity, so we can use this opportunity and expand the renewable energy. Kosovo also can boost sustainable environment by supporting small and medium-sized enterprises, encouraging them to produce more eco-friendly and sustainable products. And of course, one of the opportunities that we are looking forward to is the regional cooperation. We have a lot of environmental challenges, and I just put some of them. One of them being consistent, continuing for every single year, is high fossil fuels dependency. 80% of Kosovo's energy is produced by fossil fuels. And you know that this causes a lot of problems like air quality issues, industrial pollution, and also affects public health. Waste management gaps we are facing for several years. Even though we have adopted this strategy, we still have problems with lower rate of recycling and hazardous waste issues. Also, we have lower rate of wastewater treatment, as I said before, and also we have high risk of river contamination. And of course, one of the problems that it's inherited year by year is limited environmental funds. Kosovo is a young country and faces a lot of environmental challenges. But throughout these years and this journey, we haven't been facing these challenges alone. European Environment Agency and the IONET have been an invaluable partner for us. Through their guidance, technical support, and also knowledge sharing, we have been able to improve our environmental policies, to improve data collection, and also implement concrete plans like IPA 3. And also, in many ways, EEA has acted not just as driving force, pushing us to set ambitious goals, but also has very often provided the tools, the means to achieve these goals. Today, thanks to their support, we are able to adopt better practices, to aim for sustainable development, also to access funds, which for us is very important. We are truly grateful for your continuous partnership and cooperation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Iliriana, so much. I will invite our next colleague, Jovana Drobnjak from Environmental Protection Agency of Montenegro. Thank you.
Dear ladies, gentlemen, colleagues, thank you for joining us today. It's our pleasure to host this event. And I will now shortly present our country's profile throughout achievements, challenges, and opportunities. Regarding the achievements, in the area of organic farming, the area has increased slightly, although not enough to achieve the EU target, but the enlargement of 60% in registered organic farming households really shows commitment to sustainable agriculture. When it comes to the protected areas growth, although you will see in the report that we reached the goal, that's because also internationally designated areas were included too. But when it comes to the national goal, Montenegro still did not reach it, but is going towards it. And in 2021, for instance, 3 new marine protected areas were designated. Management of the protected areas still required significant improvement, but we hope to achieve the goal very soon. Now we will move on to the greenhouse gases reduction, because the emissions have declined since 1990s, mostly due to industrial shutdown, but further steps are being taken to improve the current state, especially regarding the coal thermal power plant, where ecological reconstruction takes place, and the district heating in Pljevlja region is also ongoing. When it comes to the renewable energy share, the share is satisfactory. Montenegro reached this goal from 2020, is going towards reaching the goal for 2030, and although further diversification is needed because we mostly rely on hydropower, the ongoing project on solar panels is really a step forward. Montenegro also continuously works on harmonization with the EU acquis and legislations, which supports systemic improvements, and for instance the new law on waste was adopted. The new law on nature protection will be adopted soon. Also, National Energy and Climate Plan was adopted along with the new National Waste Management Strategy. Progress was made in digitalization, where modernization of administrative system is ongoing. Now I will move on to challenges, and the greatest challenge we face in the area of waste management, because waste generation is increasing and treatment systems are currently underperforming. There is also required significant improvement in the area of recycling rates, but as I mentioned before, new National Waste Management Plan will provide the guidelines to improve the current situation. We also face challenges in the area of air quality, because in certain parts of the country the air quality levels are low, such as northern part of the country, but as I mentioned before, steps are being taken to improve the overall situation and promote healthier air and safer environment for all. Although we harmonize legislation with the EU, we face challenges in national strategies, since their adoption is often delayed and they are not so well implemented, but of course improvement is being taken. We also face a challenge with the insufficient capacities at both central and local levels, including especially inspection bodies, which are maybe the most important part of the system. Also, the budget for effective environmental protection is insufficient, and the country should allocate more funds for the environmental protection in the future. But the brighter side for the end, now we will move on to the opportunities, and there are a lot of opportunities in the area of circular economy, because Montenegro is currently going toward linear to a circular economy model, which should unlock new sustainable models and of course improve waste management, which currently poses a challenge for us. The greener transport also presents the area for improvement and a lot of opportunities, because at the moment we are giving subsidies for the procurement of hybrid cars. There are some improvement in the public transportation system, but of course there is much more room for improvement, especially when it comes to the development of the bicycle cycle among the country and of course the capital in Podgorica. Regarding the EU funding, Montenegro really effectively leverages EU and other international funds, especially in the areas of agriculture, environmental protection and infrastructure. But of course there are more potential areas for this. And of course the greatest opportunity lies in data and monitoring systems, because enhancing data quality really can support better decision making, and by that policy evaluation and finally environmental protection. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope I really motivated you to deep dive into our country's profile, and we will see you soon again. Thank you.
Thank you, Jovana, so much. Next for our presentation is colleague Katerina Nikolovska from North Macedonia, our national focal point.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Allow me to present briefly the current situation actually in North Macedonia. In the recent year, the country has achieved notable progress in the green finance, environmental protection, and alignment with European standards. A key milestone was the issuance of the first national green bond in October 2023, and valued at 10 million euros, an important move toward mobilizing climate finance and supporting green projects. The environmental goods and services sectors is also expanding. Its gross value added increased from 0.68% to 1.63% of GDP from 2020 to 2021. Progress is also visible in alignment with the EU acquis, particularly in transport, environmental legislation, institutional strengthening. Regulatory and supervisory bodies are gradually becoming more effective and more closely aligned with the European processes and practices. Environmental monitoring and reporting system have also improved. Regular state of environmental reports, environmental statistic, indicator-based reports, assessment was developed, also with EONET and national expert support. It was strengthened in the basis of the planning, policy making, and reporting to the EA-EONET network. In addition, new strategies and investment in waste management, transport, energy indicate a stronger policy drive to address long-standing systematic changes. Together, this development shows steady progress toward green transition and green economy, better environmental governance, and closer to EU policies. North Macedonia is also in a good position to benefit from several key opportunities. The EU integration process and pre-accession funds remain major drivers of development, supporting improvement in air quality, wastewater treatment, renewable energy, biodiversity, and institutional capacity. Growing organic environmental goods supported the national incentive and expanding market experience. In the energy sector, opportunities lie in scaling up renewable and energy efficiency. Occasional peaks in renewable production and existing policy incentives show that these capacities can be further expanded. The country also has significant access to international finance through institutions such as World Bank, EBRD, IPA funds, and others, and helping to bridge investment gap in energy, transport, and environmental infrastructure. Finally, raising the public awareness, especially in urban areas, create a supportive environment for new policies in education, recycling, sustainable consumption, and green lifestyle. Despite this progress, also we have several challenges, and we try to somehow overcome it. The most persistent issue is air pollution, as we know, driven by household heating, industry and outdated transport system. The energy sector also remains heavily dependent on the fossil fuels, with renewable production still variable and often dependent on the hydrology. In the water sector, insufficient wastewater treatment capacity and slow alignment of the EU standards continue to affect water quality, and waste management faces similar structural gaps with high waste generation and slow implementation of reforms, although a new national strategy is underway. Finally, the socioeconomic inequalities, particularly between the urban and rural area, remain pronounced, with income inequality still above the EU 27 average. These achievement opportunities and remaining challenges highlight the need for coordinated reforms, stable investment, a long-term vision to ensure sustainable development in the country. Thank you very much.
And last but definitely not the least, our colleagues from Serbia. I will invite colleague Dragana Vidojević from Serbian Environmental Protection Agency. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thanks to our host, the Environmental Protection Agency from Montenegro, our friends and colleagues, and the European Environmental Protection Agency for organizing such a great event. Also, I would like to thanks to all my colleagues which will be included in this State of the Environment reporting process, and I'm very proud when I see that Serbia is high on the list of priority data flow, and this is also the result of cooperation between EUNET colleagues and European Environmental Protection Agency. I will present you the main achievement we have in the past 5 years, and several important developments stand out. First of all, we increased the air quality monitoring network, and that allows us to track a gradual decline in PM 2.5 level. Also, we have the stronger link between air quality and health data. In LULUCF sector, we have the stable carbon sink driven by forest ground. We achieved a 24% of reduction of greenhouse gas emissions since 1990, major cuts in energy and industry, and this is mainly due to less industrial production in our country. Regarding the renewable energy, the share doubled, strong expansions in heating and cooling. Energy efficiency is improving, especially households. Regarding the climate data, we have better climate data as we adapted the program for adaptation to climate change in 1993. And those better data are integrated into our NDC 2021-2030. Regarding the waste management, around 80% of municipal solid waste is landfilled. Recycling rate remains low, around 70% in 2024. Slow improvement, unfortunately, in circular economy, from 1.3 to 1.7%. Regarding the organic farming, we have grown by 27%, but we are still far from the EU target. Around 1% of our utilized agricultural land are under organic production, but we have stronger incentives and we have the new EU aligned law in preparation. Regarding the protected areas, around 9% of the territory is protected, and our goal is 12%. We have still several challenges to do, although we have made the progress. When we look at the main environmental challenges Serbia is facing today, several points stand out. First of all, air quality. PM10 and PM2.5 remain the main pollutant affecting the well-being in our cities and public health. We still have low level of wastewater treatment. Our challenge is also implementation of systematic soil health monitoring. We are starting to do that. And also waste management, low level of recycling, non-compliant landfill. Around 50% of our waste is still going to the non-compliant landfill. Our challenge is to increase investment in environmental protection, strengthening capacities and knowledge transfer. When it comes to the opportunities, EU alignment is one of our opportunities, a green agenda for the Western Balkan, the process who is going aligned with the EU green process, EU for green process, a Green Deal, then straighten the cooperation at the international level and also at the regional level. Our opportunity is also to use the improved air quality monitoring data to implement air quality program for 2022-2030. As I said, we have the climate change adaptation program for 2023 to 2030, and within this program we are working a lot. We are now working on the national guidance for adaptation of agriculture to climate change. We have several projects, and we are aware of climate changes in our country. Regarding the renewable energy transition, we have the goals in our National Energy and Climate Plan 2030 regarding the sustainable agriculture. We are now preparing the new strategy for agriculture and rural development, also for the biodiversity protection. The new framework is coming next year. Now we have the draft of our national strategy for environmental protection, and we are hoping to use the possibilities with this new legal and strategic framework to go further in our environmental protection. Thank you.
Thank you all very much for your interventions. We are now going to move into a bit of a panel discussion that Tobias will start us off, and then I will take some questions, and then we will invite you for a bit of back and forth or discussion or open floor before we then proceed to lunch. So Tobias, I hand it over to you.
Yeah, thanks. I think we have been diving into the key outputs from each country now on content. That was really insightful and valuable. And in the next few minutes, we'd like to take it more to the process, because the people here on the podium are actually those that have made the work in the countries, in the Western Balkans. So I'd like to explore a bit with them how the process went. We learned already at the beginning of the morning that collaboration is key, and this exercise was arguably the biggest co-creation exercise with the Western Balkan countries together so far, and we'll just like to explore that a little bit. So a dive into the engine room, the mechanics of how these country profiles have been developed. And a key is, of course, that, as you saw from a content perspective, it stretches across very different fields of expertise as well, which requires lots of coordination and alignment with the EA, but also potentially across different national institutions that you have. And that's the first question that I'd like to ask the panelists. What kind of steps and loops you had to go through, both with the EA and also nationally, maybe across different institutions, to make something like a country profile or a country space a reality that stretches across so many different topics. Maybe to break the ice, we can start with you, Tatjana, and then we take a little round. What were the main steps? And maybe you could also highlight a surprise. What surprised you during the process?
Okay, Tobias, thank you. This was really a demanding process and divided in a few steps, if I can say. And each step has its own loop. So whenever you try to gather proper information, you have to check it with your experts. So it's always some kind of loop, even with European agency team. So we use our experience in similar reports in our country to make a draft to include the most important things. And then we check it with our experts, with our IONET experts, if we included everything which is important. because when we become aware what will be the topics included in this report, then we also become aware that we don't have much data, that we have to focus on really important things. So this was the case in our country. We try to find, since there are not many data on many indicators, we try to find alternative data. And it's really hard to find alternative data. Then when you find it, you have to check it again with your experts. Then you check it again with SCOR team of European agencies. So it was a loop all the time of checking and validation. And finally, we have, of course, validation with our stakeholders. So it's really, it was a process with lots of loops. And when we come to surprises, there are some, if I can say, negative surprises. When you realize that you don't have reliable data, and you expected that you have it. You think that you have statistic data, and for sure you will have it there. For example, circular material use rate. No data, and there are some parts of the data, and you have to combine it. And then you realize that you don't have an expert who is capable, I'm sorry, but it's like that, to combine all these particular data and to provide kind of assessment trend or something. So we really were surprised on what about this, what to do about this. Also, we have little information on public opinion. You expect that you have lots of information on responses, but then no publications. What our people think about this topic or this topic. So this is really demanding how to find this kind of data. We were pleasantly surprised, I have to say, with the feedback of our IONET network, our experts. They really go straight to the data, and we have limited characters, so it's really hard to stick to the limits and say everything what is important. But anyway, all unexpected findings, if I can say, contribute to our knowledge. What we have to do, and how to cope with this. We learn what is co-creation, and so this surprises, I found it useful for us.
Thank you.
That's my...
Thank you very much. I think you highlighted really important points, like the crucial role of the expertise in IONET in supporting such an exercise, but also challenges in relation to data gaps and how to deal with that, and identify alternative data sources that can fill those gaps. Maybe there are other colleagues that would like to come in on similar or related challenges that they experienced when they went through the loops, or also other steps that are that pick up from that. Achim.
Yes. Similar to Bosnia, to prepare Kosovo's country profile, our team went through several coordinated steps. First, we collected and verified the data from national institutions and sectoral agencies to ensure accuracy and consistency. Then we aligned the information with EIA guidelines and the structure required for the European environment make it happen. This includes internal consultation, clarification rounds with national experts, and cross-checking data with relevant EU and regional sources. Finally, we consolidated the inputs, addressed feedbacks received from the EIA, and ensured that the profile accuracy reflects Kosovo environmental progress, challenges, and priorities. And regarding surprises, we noticed, for example, differences in the data availability across the sectors, with some areas having well-structured data sets, while others required additional clarification or manual verification. Another surprise was the variability in reporting methods between institutions, which requires extra harmonization to fit the EIA standards.
Thank you very much. I think the difference in data quality is an important issue, probably for many of you, as well as the other point that you mentioned about data cross-checking and verification, and making sure that the information is both aligned with the assessment approach, but also faithful to the data you draw from. Thanks a lot for those insights. Maybe another one of you would like to come in on that point. Listo?
Yep, there is a sense of surprise, or a context of surprise for our experts in the methodology aspects of drafting the assessment. So, for example, they're doing the research, they're doing their best to bring data and information on the table and everything, and it needs to fit into 1,000 or 1,200 characters. And then you get to a bit of anxiety. You know, what are we going to do? So how you shorten the text so you don't lose the quality of the insight that you need to bring forward in the report. So it was challenging. It is a surprise that, in the sense that we need to adjust to this kind of types of assessments, which are a bit more short and coherent and straightforward. And we see how much we still have to go through in order to be able to further learn about all these processes and be able to provide meaningful and targeted insight on the thematic areas, for example. So.
Yeah. Also an important point about how you communicate about many of the data sets and the information you have in a concise way, so that's understandable for non-experts and so on. And I think we have been through a joint learning process there as well, together with the EA as a team. I don't exclude myself there. I think we as the whole team behind Europe's Environment 2025 together have learned a lot, also in terms of how we can sharpen messages, how we can focus and distinguish between the crucial key points to make and others maybe of secondary importance. That's also a crucial point, an outcome of the joint exercise together. Maybe another one, yeah, Dragana.
Okay, thank you. Actually, what was surprising for our team, we start to work on this report with our national report of 200 pages, and we think that we have all the data for answer to all the questions. Then we come to the question, how the air pollution affected your well-being, or how it is affected your society and the organic farming, and then that was the problem for answering. That means that for me, those questions are new for our national reporting. I try to bring on the table with my colleagues for the next reporting process, and that was challenges for us.
And if I may add, we also faced challenges in similar areas, but I think that the most challenging part for all Western Balkan countries maybe was the socio-economic aspect. Because as it's a new dimension in the way it was for this report, we really struggled with finding available data and experts in this area. And although support provided by the EEA and Austrian agency was really valuable, maybe the timing was rather late, so maybe that could be like a lesson learned for future reports, because it's really valuable. We have huge data gaps in this area, and I think that's maybe the part of the report that is very important for the overall assessment, and we really need to work on it more harder in the future to really have good data.
Yeah, that's also a crucial point. I think you touch upon various aspects around how to draft an assessment and be concise and sharp and to the point. You touch upon other aspects of what questions are asked, what do we really want to answer with the assessment, but also what topics we have expertise to talk qualified about, and data, your point, Giovanna, which all relate, I think, a bit to the challenge of skills and capacities institutionally in your country. Maybe we take that as the next one. I'll hand over to you, Luna.
Yes, of course. And you know, there is always a risk that we open a Pandora box right now when we talk about that. But I think it's an important discussion to have in a public forum, although we talk about capacities quite often. And we have colleagues from European delegations here in the room from 4 countries, so I think even more so it is valuable to talk about the capacities. Have you, looking ahead towards the next European Environment Report in 5 years, what would be a handy set of capacities to build so that your contributions are even stronger? I think Jovana kind of opened it a bit with this capacity for socio-economic analysis, but also not only that, what has kind of come up with the emerging needs that you feel you need to address sooner rather than later? I see Risto would like to...
Yeah, because I want to a bit add to what Jovana mentioned, you know, the challenges in terms of the socioeconomic assessment. So what we did was we reached out outside of our institution. So we approached academia. We had a professor who actually was heavily involved in drafting the assessment. So sort of broadening our IONET network by inviting academia, which is not easy to do because they have a different, formal method of how they approach institutions. And we were lucky with, of course, with the contacts from Katerina, NFP, that we approached this professor, and so we kind of drafted a text that was we were satisfied with. So, of course, there were challenges because we had to say, you know, now you need to shorten it. You know?
Right.
But we are satisfied in that sense that we see that there are opportunities. If you go outside of the network, which is in-house, let's say, as expertise, then you can add expertise and bring on the table a bit more of quality feedback and so.
And different skills are
and different skills,
relevant.
of course. Yes. Thank you.
I would maybe add up to Risto because we reached out to the experts outside of the IONET network, and we were really genuinely surprised by the effectiveness and responsiveness of all institutions and experts appointed by them. But in terms of data that were needed, we did not have it in. Well, we had very few data, let's say it like that. So it really showed us where to build upon in the future, and really the flexibility of the EEA to adapt that segment for what country can provide was really of great importance in this process.
So what I hear is one of the low-hanging fruits was basically to just spread the network through different sectors and get different kind of skill sets and brains in the room to support. Anything else? Maybe Oriana from Albania?
Definitely the work with this exercise was challenging, and for all the reasons that the colleagues mentioned, and I'm not going to repeat. And was also a lesson, an important lesson for us to face with the methodology where we have to go through and to apply, even in our, because we tend, and the value of this cooperation is also to bring back home and to transfer the knowledge that we are getting from this cooperation. And the State of Environment Report, the Europe Environment Report is the finalization of a whole long process. And we have to adapt the methodology used at country level too. And here we are speaking for the assessment, here we are speaking for the way how to work with the indicators, because all the assessment is based on indicators. And in this exercise, we faced for the first time with the social economic and with the systemic changes, and we realized that at country level we are not we don't have, I'm trying to say it in a nice way, we don't have all the data needed for these indicators. So we have to go back and to see how we do, how we perform our national assessments, because we are the partners that in premise have to implement what we are getting from you. So yes, a reflection and much more action is needed on this, and this is up to us and up to our policymakers, because we are facing with another issue at country level, that the flexibility is what we would like to have in terms of revising of these indications and performing this assessments and so on. And some important lessons regarding your question, Luna, about the capacities. We still have to continue to work. Otherwise, if we lose this sustainability, this continuity, we will lose also what we have got till now. But the things are not ended. They are just started, and this exercise is a good example of comparing ourselves with the other our countries, why not? The way how they do this, and the way that we have to move forward. So we have to keep going with this, and to see into a more integrated approach to the when speaking for the assessment, for the indicators, from the thematic areas, and we can do this as we have done in the past with your support to look into that direction.
Interesting that you brought this up, because I was also thinking that now that we have this report and all this very, very deep work has been done, I'm probably not wrong if I say, Tobias or Ryong, that work for the next report is like starting tomorrow, basically, right?
Yes.
So it is, it's important to keep on building on that.
Yeah.
But yes, speaking of skills, tools and resources that would make the biggest difference if you would have to do this again tomorrow, maybe Dragana, do you have any thoughts on that?
What we need?
Yes, yes, exactly.
Yeah, very short, we need accept human capacity, we need system thinking and nexus expertise, data modeling and monitoring, reporting and verification capacity for Serbia.
That is very concrete, thank you. Yes. Afrim, do you have something in mind?
Yes. First, we need stronger skills in data management, including harmonization, quality assurance, and digitalization of environmental data sets. Also, we need maybe more experience in improved analytic tools, and also to build the environmental information centralized information system when we can use the data in the better way and in the line with the EU standards.
Thank you. Yes. Would Bosnia and Herzegovina like to come in?
I agree. It's almost the same questions like in other countries. We faced with this report that our institutions have to collaborate more. So it's always when we have report, then we realize they are not enough collaborating, and then you have problem when you are writing a report. So we need also not only data gaps, but we need this coordination and communication of different institutions to improve. So I will add this, and also, for example, I'm thinking about this social aspect of any topic. Maybe this is opportunity for our experts, thematic experts, to think about social aspect of their own topic. It's not only to find an expert on social issues. It has to be in the topic, just to expand their way of thinking, not just to dive deep into the details in air quality. It has to be connected to this social aspect. Because this, if you find the expert who is doing only social aspect, it can't understand this air pollution or waste management. So it has to be some kind of combination. So I feel that this is good opportunity for our thematic experts, maybe to start to think things in a different way.
Mm. Yes, Soria.
In addition to all of this, and I will be open in this, our people are struggling at country level in terms of improving the monitoring, networking infrastructure. So this is a urgent call for support related with the air quality, with biodiversity. And one other thing is the building up integrated data systems, monitoring systems that with access needed when we come at the assessments, because it's needed to have this access in the data. From our experiences at country level, we see that there are different initiatives, different institutions, but not harmonized with each other in terms of data collection and data assessment and cooperation. Much more and better integration and designation of these national systems is needed in order to have the basis needed for the forward-looking work, let's say.
Yeah, thank you. Of course I hear you on the infrastructure and the big needs there, the data gaps, the capacities. One question just occurred to me as I was listening on the skill sets and maybe the people who you invite to help you, not just to have them deep dive in one section, but maybe have them more involved. Has this process given you any ideas on who else to include in the IONET network? Like, have you mapped interesting scientients or experts that you haven't been aware of before?
Agencies.
Absolutely. Yeah? Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Because this exercise brought us at other partners, external and not involved in the IONET. Okay, the IONET is not as it was some years ago. We are much more open, but facing with social economic indicators, for example, or with issues related with systemic changes brought us at the doors of Ministry of Agriculture, of health and social issues. So at universities. So helped us to do a sort of mapping at country level, which are the potential future capacities at country level to be involved, and also to help the current national IONET experts in this. This is another added value of this exercise, because will help also us in addressing our needs, our national needs for the next assessments, and to get from them what we are missing. And what we are missing is quite important.
During the collection of the data, we saw that Eurostat and European Environment Agency have so close cooperation between them, and they have harmonized data. But in national level, this is not in such cooperation. So maybe one of the opportunities for the future is to see close cooperation with the national statistical agencies. And also, I see very important opportunity also to work also in the scenarios for the future, because in this exercise we didn't have so much opportunities to have specific scenarios for the future. But I think in the regional aspect we can do more in this area.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This is like, it sounds like an unintended consequence of going through preparing the country profile, basically expanding IONET and our knowledges. I hand over to you, Tobias, for
Yeah, I think we are in the middle of this discussion already.
Yes.
Because the last part we wanted to wrap it up with was looking ahead. As Luna said, as soon as one State of Environment report is published, we look ahead already. and one point I'd like to invite you to reflect on is where you see the biggest opportunities for collaboration of the Western Balkans with the EA in the coming years, in the next 3, 4, 5 years, towards the next iteration, which can benefit the collaboration as such, but also the input you would be able to give to the next Europe's environment, and equally, if not more important, how it would also benefit your own, maybe national State of Environment report. Where do you see the biggest opportunities? We have been touching upon on some issues like involving statistical offices much more, looking into foresight scenarios. You mentioned AFRIM, strengthening certain capacities, socioeconomic systems analysis, nexus expertise you have mentioned. So I just invite you to reflect on that to conclude the debate here. Where are the main opportunities in the coming years? Risto?
Well, I would like to use this opportunity to draw attention on the first on a more formal aspect in terms of a previous experience we had with tailored regional workshops within the framework of the IPA support, which has proved to be a lot of important success for the region over the years. So further strengthening of our capacities within a format of regional tailor-made activities where we will have further opportunities to work with the EEA and between ourselves to sort of have this interaction on a level that allows us to actually learn and build our institutional capacities. And then there is, besides this kind of format aspects, there is this aspect of quality that we need to timely plan for such activities. So within the framework of the new projects, timely start, address issues such as thematic areas, identify national expertise, learn from the fact that we see that it's not only about technical expertise, but people who are technical in their expertise need to also work within a narrative context, need to learn how to further write or draft or improve their skills. So this is all an integral part of a successful story ahead of a new contribution to a new report. So there are further elements which, of course, need improved, tailor-made, approach maybe to the countries because of data gaps and information gaps. But there are ways on how to use that also, in a form that allows us to work better with the context, with the narrative. So we need to think about that and discuss that with you, and I'm sure we will have an opportunity. So.
Yeah, thank you very much. Very important. Tailor-made workshops, regional, but also expanding the expertise of your experts involved beyond the technical side to encompass other aspects like communication, like writing, and so on and so forth. Yeah, thank you.
And to keep where Risto stopped, from the experiences, even from the last one, we learned that we learn mostly by doing the things. And this time our team was directly involved in preparing, drafting, but since the start thinking in a different way. And saying that we are working since some years in some thematic areas, which have been really important for us in raising our capacities. So maybe it's time for the next reports, or even for the thematic reports, maybe a much more extended presence of Western Balkans in these thematic reports, which are also related with the thematic areas that we are working since many years. is needed because we have to make visible what the insights, the assessments of our countries, of the region. So what I'm saying basically is to see the Western Balkans in this thematic report. EA, you mentioned that had a lot of outputs, thematic outputs, more than 60. So it would be nice to give the concrete outputs that will bring us, because even in terms of messaging to share with
and
for
examples
this
from the Western Balkan countries in those reports,
yes,
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's a good
Thanks.
way also in participating in such assessments will bring will help us in preparing better and following the same methodology and logic, even for the country
Thanks.
Assessment.
I also noticed, it came to my mind, I also agree with this regional approach. When we did this SOER, I noticed that we have many publications of international organizations which are done for the whole region. So it could be a good idea maybe to have some kind of online library of Western Balkan on environment, so we can all use this kind of data, because sometimes you can't find these publications, World Bank, any other, UNDP, and they usually make this for the region, and this can be really useful together with all these facts from the country reports. We can edit it in some kind of repositorium of references or something like that.
Also to fill some data gaps, maybe.
Yes, yes.
Other reflections on the way forward, maybe from the other side of the panel.
Yeah. Regarding thematic areas, we as a country see very important issues to work in the circular economy and also in the climate change adaptation, but also in the new directives and new laws which comes from the EU regarding, for example, restoration of the ecosystems. But in regarding the cooperation for the improvement of the state of the environment reporting, we see a very important strengthening the capacities for the indicator-based assessments. Because we don't have so much data for some specific indicators, maybe in the future we will see how to cooperate with EIA regarding these topics of the indicators which we miss, and how to build better this connection.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. I agree that the regional approach is must something that we must to have, and I had the experience to working in the soil state report for to try to collect all the data for the Western Balkan, and it is very difficult. That means that we should be included in also in those topic reports. What I'd like to highlight is this. For us, it is very important to encourage stakeholders to move from data recipient to the active users of state of the environment data. Also, we would like to create the community of practice. That means that to foster continued cooperation among institutions, researchers and policymakers to share expertise. For us, it is the crucial. And for the topic for the future collaboration, we would like to work more on the state of the environment reporting. I would like to emphasize also the soil as a topic, as we have the new EU first ever soil directive. This is something challenging for all our countries, and also water-wise is always actual for improving the reporting on water quality and quantity. And also my colleague said that they have a very good cooperation in the last IPA project on greenhouse gas emissions monitoring and reporting. We would like to continue to work on this topic.
Yeah, thanks for highlighting these. Jovana, do you...
Well, it's similar situation in Montenegro. I have to agree with Afrim as a future EU member state country and subsequently EEA member country. We will have to open new data flows, which we are currently not ready for. So we would really need capacity building and more lessons learned sharing from the EEA member states that already have developed monitoring systems and data analysis that they apply for the production of Europe's Environment Report or other similar reports. Because as soon to be, as I said before, soon to be EU member states, we really have to work hard on this. And for instance, we have a new reporting obligation to the EEA energy community, which is also very important in terms of greenhouse gas emissions reporting. So everything is very connected. So maybe I agree with the regional approach. I think it's very needed and very good. But I think we also have to spread the circle and have maybe more lessons learned from the EEA member states to be ready for our future accession processes.
Thanks. That's a super important point as well. I think we have maybe time for one or two quick questions from the audience as well. If there is any remark or point you would like to raise towards the panel, there is a little bit of time. Not a lot, but a short question, one or two, if there is a burning point.
Also, observations are welcome. You don't need to necessarily ask anything, but if you have a comment or question, please.
Everything is clear.
There is.
Shall we pass the microphone?
Hi. Hi everyone, I'm Dermot Burke from the EEA water expert. It's so wonderful to see the region come together in such a very positive way, and clearly there is a wonderful mind here in terms of collective mind, in terms of cooperation and learning from each other, and it's really wonderful to see. I was just wondering, in terms of awareness raising, and that was one thing that was pointed out there, and it's certainly something. I come from Ireland, and it's something that has worked well within Ireland, is awareness raising in our population and our citizens, and the role of citizen science. Do you see citizen science as an opportunity both for awareness raising, but also for helping in terms of data collection as well? Do you see that as an important role going forward?
Someone would like to reply to that shortly?
Actually, yes, this is very important. We are facing with the situation that we published our State of the Environment report, and we are thinking that we are not doing enough for convey the key messages to the public, to the our stakeholders, and to the others. That means that such a kind of skills also we need it. How to convey the key messages to the public, to our inhabitant, and that's something that we need to do more.
Rayong, you had a question as well, or a remark?
A remark. I don't want to take the floor from anyone else that wants to speak, but just to also say this has been so rich to actually understand what this process that we started with the INEC countries, especially in our cooperating countries, what that has actually brought together in terms of challenges and opportunities for the future. And I think it's just to reiterate a commitment that for the next Europe's environment, we hope that we can work very close to also pick up on some of these suggestions, such as regional launches or regional workshops thematically, to bring some of the lessons from this particular region a lot more prominent into some of our thematic reports as well. So it's a commitment, but also a commentary in the fact that I think this has been a very big lesson learned for us as well. just how much there is commonalities across these regions, but also challenges that are common, and also very different challenges that you in each country are actually facing. So I think we've got some really good time to work towards the next state and outlook of the environment report, or Europe's environment for 2030, 2029, a few more years. And hopefully we can take some of those learnings to really propel them into the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Any last questions or remarks from the audience? No? Then I think we can close this panel discussion and the session of the engine room. Thank you so much for your contributions, and also not only for participating in developing the report, but bringing this event together, because we certainly did not do it alone. I will invite Director Milan to officially close this event today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dear colleagues, dear friends, I'm very happy because you are here today with us, and today we heard a lot of important information. Your experience is very important for us and for this process. Thank you very much for support, for cooperation. Environmental Protection Agency will continue to be active in this process. I hope you will enjoy in this short stay here in Montenegro, and I hope you will come back again. This is all for me, and before I let you for lunch, I understood that some colleagues have some additional information.
So just a few additional housekeeping information. Please, we would like all of you to stay short for a family photo, which will be taken here in this room. And after the family photo, there is a lunch break, which is where lunch is served on this floor in the restaurant that is left from the exit of this room. We have arranged lunch meetings, so EU delegations, please follow our colleague Gulcin from the EEA. She will raise her hand and follow her after the photo shoot. Directors and ministers attending, you are invited to join lunch with the EEA Executive Director Lena and Katja, so please follow them after the photo, and for others we will meet at the restaurant. Also, for the afternoon sessions, the strategic dialogue will start at 2 p.m. and the project meeting will officially start at 3 p.m. In rooms that are down the hall, but of course you will find someone here to guide you to the meeting rooms. Thank you very much for joining us today. Oh, okay. Just one quick more information. The bus will wait for you to pick you up at 7 p.m. So please be ready, because